What's up, print fam? Welcome back to the print shop. You guys have been asking for more ways to help you make money and diversify what you do. And one of the ways that I suggest doing that and how I do it in my own business is by having a heat press. It gives you the opportunity to do lots of different types of transfers. You can do sublimation transfers, DTF transfers, screen printed transfers. You can do just sublimation pressing, so you can do like flat products, puzzles, different things, mostly geared towards sublimation. But I mainly use it for apparel. And I want to tell you a quick story about it. I may have told the story before, but my first piece of equipment purchase, my first real DNS purchase, was a vinyl cutter. It was a US cutter, like 28 inch. I bought it to do cut decals because I really wanted to get into doing stickers. There's a guy locally selling it on classifieds for $500 with a bunch of material, and he offered training. Come to find out, I way overpaid for it, regardless. It came with training, got me started, and came with material. But the very next purchase, after getting the vinyl cutter, I was like, man, I need a way to be able to do t-shirts. Looked in, heat transfer vinyl was a thing, and it was awesome. I was like, oh, I can cut it and I can make simple shirts and it'll be cool and awesome, and I can do lots of custom things and it'll be fun. Now I have a different story related to that, so we'll rewind later. But I wanted to buy a heat press, so I found one on eBay. I'll see if I can find the picture. I still own it, but someone's borrowing it and has been borrowing it for like 2+ years, and it was $300. 15 by 15, had like a little gecko sticker, like I remember that being there. It says like the brand and caution hot and whatnot. But it helped me get started into doing shirts, and it helped me realize the direction I didn't want to take my business, which was cut decals and heat transfer vinyl. Now they have their place and they're a great product. I just don't want to do them myself, so I actually outsource that now. I have a couple people that help me with that, and I'll still press them or I'll sell them to people or whatnot. I just don't want my business to go that direction of actually making the transfers. But I order a ton of transfers, as well as I'm starting to get into doing DTF here in-house. Stay tuned, I will be offering what I think is a really good price for transfers, so stay tuned for that. But I buy a lot of heat transfer, or screen printed heat transfers. I don't think they're called screen printed transfers. We do a lot of DTF, we do a little bit of sublimation, we do some leatherette patches, things like that. So having a heat press is really awesome. And while the 15 by 15 was great and it was $300, I honestly would suggest spending a little bit more money to help you with your body and just to get a better product, because typically when you spend more money, it comes with better hardware. So they have better heating elements, like you can get auto open, which to me is a must-have, and then you can get drawers and different platens. So let me show you the two heat presses that I currently have, kind of how we use them and why we love the auto open, and then we'll talk a little bit more about business stuff. So these are the two presses I have right now. It's a 16 by 20 Stahls. It is an auto open press, and then we've got the 16 by 20 auto open from Heat Transfer Warehouse. It is the water press. I highly recommend the auto open, just because when you're doing shirts, it makes it way easier. So here on, we'll just turn it on here real quick. You can see it'll come on, say we've got it programmed, I believe, for 7 seconds. It might not show that. Let's see. You can tell that I obviously do it. So this one is temperature. There's the pressing. Fahrenheit versus Celsius. I think this is auto off. It comes with a manual. But anyway, we've got a shirt on here. We usually just put it on top, and it should, switches to the 7 seconds. So as soon as you put it down, now magic is going to happen. Boom. Let's show you a better angle of that. Beautiful. The reason why I highly recommend the auto open is right now we're working on about 500 shirts, and if you're having to open and close it every single time, like closing it alone, it can kind of wear on you. Your back starts to hurt, and I'm shaking the camera, but like you start to feel it. With the auto open, it gives you a little bit of a break, because it opens, it leaves your hands available to peel the transfer off, to do whatever it is that you're doing. So I highly recommend the auto open. And in reality, it's not that much more. You'll end up getting it back by being able to produce things faster. And let's get back to the original story. So the main reason that I decided I didn't want to take my business the heat transfer vinyl route, which I still have some, still plays a role, I still buy it, but I just didn't want to spend the time. It's not something that I enjoy. I know other people that they find it super soothing and they can just sit there and weed the vinyl and it's a blast for them and they enjoy it. Again, that's not something that I enjoy. It's a great moneymaker, and again, it has its place because sometimes you want to do like reflective or a specialty carbon, or maybe you want to do a printed pattern, then it's super great. And I've done printed heat transfer on my HP latex. For me, it just doesn't scale, and I'm more of a bulk shop. When I was smaller, it was way easier to say yes to a job that I would only make $10, $20, $30 because I didn't have all the overhead that I have now. I didn't have all the expenses and the debt associated with it. So saying yes to a job that would take a couple of hours and profit me $20, I could do that. Now saying yes to a job that only profits me $20 is really hard, especially if it takes multiple hours. I remember a story of my wife's friend coming to my wife and saying, "Hey, I found this shirt on Etsy. Can your husband just make it for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, but in order for me to make it, I've got to charge $100 for it." And obviously they didn't want to spend $100 on a shirt when they could buy it from Etsy for like $10. The only advantage that I had was I could do it in the time frame that they wanted, because they wanted it for Halloween. They still did not end up buying it from me. But again, that's what it came to me of, like, I didn't want to spend the time to prep the file, get the file approved, have it come back, maybe there's some revisions, get it approved again, cut the file, weed the file, press the file, have them come pick it up. Like, there's just so many moving pieces. So now I've moved to DTF where I'm doing one-off jobs for the most part. And so yes, we can print one shirt and it's just less time consuming. Yes, we still have the back and forth with printing, but again, a lot of times I try to say no to the one-off jobs for that reason, because I can't justify the amount of time that it takes versus what someone's willing to pay. Versus I'm doing hundreds of shirts for a few dollars a piece, yet I'm still going to make really good money on it. And so that's where I've decided to take my shop. And it's not where you have to take yours. But having a heat press has made it super valuable. Now, Taylor would argue that, "Hey Darren, why don't you send this to our outsourced screen printer?" Well, the nice thing about this is some of my customers, and it's a thing that you could use, is they want the benefit of bulk, or the benefit of variety, or maybe not using all the inventory, or maybe not purchasing everything at once. So screen printed transfers make a really good option, because you're screen printing onto paper, that paper gets a powder on it that's an adhesive, and then you can apply it as necessary. It's like my sister-in-law used to own a pizza shop, and we ordered like 200 transfers for her, and she would only order about 10 physical shirts at a time. And it was always, next time you're placing an order, just throw on these 10 shirts for me, or these 20 shirts. But I had the transfers on hand so that I could just apply them super quick. When you're using the people that I recommend, they're super cheap, especially if you're doing one or two colors. Even the full color is really not that bad, which tends to be what I use most of the time, is the full color screen printed transfers. But it allows you to sell bulk without them having to pay that bulk price all at once. And so they feel better. You kind of have them locked in until you use all the transfers. So it's kind of a win-win for both of you. The way that I typically will do that is I will sell them the transfers, and I usually have it as a setup fee, and then I'll have all the transfers, and then I just charge them a agreed upon price per shirt when they need them, as long as they're ordering when I'm already ordering shirts, so I can get free shipping with that order. If they need shirts specifically for them, then they'd be obligated to pay the shipping to bring them in. So having a heat press is super awesome. I highly recommend it. Again, I would do a 16 by 20 with it auto open. The Walla press, again, that's the one that Taylor prefers. I don't know why. I have the stalls just because we have the sleeve platen for it, which I think my buddy Spencer has, because I don't know where it is. I'm pretty sure he borrowed it. Highly recommend it. I will link it down in the description and some other resources. If you have specific questions, let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.